baby. Run for the shadows, run for the shadows, run for the shadows in these golden years. I'll stick with you, baby, for 1,000 years. Nothing's gonna touch you in these golden years.
And radio style. Hope everybody out there is having another fantastic day. I think those are always good to have, right? You gotta mix in some of the great days with just good days, right? I gotta be honest. Today was a crazy day at work, so it's just nice to be home finally. I've been talking about doing a quick little show, I guess, on auto talking and auto writing. This is going to be a very short program. I just want to kind of cover the basics of what it is. Give you a couple ideas of how you can kind of try this, and then from there, it's just an issue of doing it a few times, and you will probably find it's very surprising, some of the stuff that comes out of you. And also, let's cover the business. First, that was David Bowie doing Golden Years. Good tune, like it. Old stuff there, but it's deliciously good. Also, the channel, of course, is Dan Radio Style. Please subscribe. Love all that kind of good stuff. And if you'd like to get in touch with me, feel free to send me an email at spiritradiodanstyle@gmail.com. All right, boom, done. There you go. There's the business. All right, so auto writing and auto talking, it's kind of a name. I don't know. It's not the name I really learned it as. And to give you a little bit of background, the first place I learned it from was the very first Neil Donald Walsh book I read, called Conversations with God. Book 1, An Uncommon Dialogue, I think is part of that title too. And it's a super old book. I want to say it came out, probably early 90s, somewhere around there. And Neil Donald Walsh has written a whole bunch of stuff, and he's a great author. I like him a lot. I've read some of his newer stuff. It's a little different, but then again, we're talking 20 years ago, and I was in a very different place in my life. But it started where Neil Donald Walsh, anytime he had an issue, he would typically break out his yellow legal pad, and he would write a note to whoever it was that had upset him. And he would essentially just write it and get those feelings out and then, throw the note away, basically, right? So this one day he was really miffed at life in general, and he says, all right, well, I'm going to write a note, but I'm going to go straight to the source. I'm going to go to the individual that I am actually miffed at right now, and that individual is God. So he decided to start writing on this yellow legal pad a note to God, basically saying, well, this sucks, and damn this, and damn that, and all that. And he finally gets done writing it, and he goes to put the pen down, and he kind of had this urge to write more. And he wrote, are you just venting, or do you really want an answer? And then he said, well, I would love an answer. And he started writing. And so began a conversation with God. Now, the concept that he did and what I'm talking about really are identical. Whether we're talking to God, our higher self, source, universe, angels, spirit, I honestly don't know where a lot of these end and begin. Certainly always recommend, especially if you're even remotely concerned, but I always recommend surrounding yourself in the Christ white light, or surround yourself in the light of pure love and energy. Surround yourself and protect yourself with God. Whatever you feel comfortable with, it's just a good habit to get into when you're kind of opening yourself up to your higher self and possibly other higher selves, other beings, other angelic entities, whatever. Be careful. If you just do it kind of willy-nilly, blindly, you are kind of opening possibilities for maybe things coming through you that you don't necessarily want to. So always surround yourself in the Christ white light, or light of love, divine energy, white light. Whatever you feel comfortable, that kind of implies that you're being protected by who you like to be protected by. Okay, so that caveat being put out of the way, it's very important. You're also going to reach a point in your life, too, if you go down this path where you realize you're protected all the time because you define that. You basically tell the universe, look, I am protected. I have a shield up at all times, and it protects me. And really, it's that easy, and we're that powerful of creatures to be able to do that. God created us in his image and likeness, and we have abilities that are amazing because he gave them to us. All right, so it's not that God has 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, and all that. That's not what he means by in his image and likeness. He doesn't look like a person per se. He can certainly look like whatever he wants, but he's everything. He, she, it is everything. He's not just a thing, a being, and there's potentially, likely, and I certainly believe there are other beings in this universe. It's a giant universe. And the fact that we think we're completely alone is crazy. It really is just crazy. It's the numbers wouldn't add up. The odds are there's other beings out there. Now, whether they can travel the vast distances in space, okay, I'm up for debate on that. That's great. But to assume that there's no other creatures in this entire universe, which is enormous, I'm not going to go with that. That's me, though. Feel and believe whatever you'd like. Okay, so all that being said, auto-talking, auto-writing. Neil Donald Walsch was doing what's basically auto-writing. And if you're a writer, if that's kind of one of your ways of doing things, then break out a pad and paper, okay? And what I do recommend is ask a question, some sort of question that you're curious about. What's happening? What should I get so-and-so for their birthday? I don't know, whatever. What am I going to do for this job idea that I've got? Or I'd like to do X, Y, and Z. What do you recommend? Or whatever. I mean, ask and ask it to God. If you're kind of on the beginning levels of this, ask to God. Ask God the question, because that's really a safe place to start from. And again, surround yourself in God's protection and Christ white light and all that good stuff, and go for it, right? What you do is you ask the questions and literally just start writing whatever pops into your head. And ultimately, don't think, just write. Even if it doesn't make sense at first, it starts to make sense. Once you let go, and that is the whole entire trick of this. It's really meant to break you out of that whole logic part of your brain and just let go and let the right side, I think, it's really more like the right side, kind of that artistic side of your brain, really let it start to just flow. And you're letting this energy come through you. You're flowing. It's flowing through you. And essentially, this is the same thing as channeling. So for those of you out there, maybe they're like, well, how do I channel? This is another great way to begin doing that. It gets you used to pushing energy through you and not really holding on to it. And that's the key. That is the entire key, is don't stop and think about anything that you're writing. Continue writing until you're done writing, until you feel like you're done writing, until you don't want to write anymore. Then go back and read what you wrote. That is how this works. You just literally write and write. It might at first be kind of weird, and your brain's going to probably, if you've never done this before, your brain's going to fight you a little bit at first, right? Just keep moving through it. Don't worry about it. You will be amazed at some of the stuff that comes out. And again, it gets you working towards channeling, working towards opening that, working towards that stream of consciousness abilities where you're connected to your higher self, to source, to whatever, and you just start talking. And then when you're done, you're like, holy crud, what did I just say? That's weird. That's awesome. How'd that come out of me? That's amazing. Or that ended up being right. Or, oh my gosh, so there's a lot of really great, amazing things that come from this. So again, I recommend it. It's an awesome tool. Auto talking is the same thing. If you're more of a vocal person, like especially people that are really, really good. I kind of don't know, maybe not, because I kind of suck at doing this, but like people that can like voice their text messages, I can't do that. I can't but at the same time, I can stream of consciousness. I hop on these microphones. I don't write any notes down. I just start talking. But for some reason, I can't do that with a text message. Kind of funny. But needless to say, it's the same concept. I have a Droid phone, so I have a program called Dictadroid, not pushing that in any way, shape, or form. I know Apple's got really cool stuff just built into their phones already. But get some sort of voice recording software. And the phone's great just because we tend to have them wherever we're at. And literally, you just open it up and start talking. And I've done this numerous times, and I typically will pace up and down my house. And I walk it's like a big long rectangle, basically. So I walk up and down, and I ask the question, and then I just stick this thing up, and I begin just talking. And I just talk, and I just pace and talk, and I don't think about it. I just keep talking. And then I'm done, and I listen to what I said in the thing, and it trips me out. It trips me out. I have done it with dream analysis. I've done it where I've connected with people's higher selves that I was curious about. I had questions for. I didn't know how to approach. I didn't know how to maybe apologize. A number of things. This is an amazingly powerful tool that allows you to connect to higher self, source, and all these different aspects of our being or of God or all this stuff, to where we can truly find out some very, very amazing information. Auto talking, auto writing, highly recommend it. I hope you all give it a try. It's Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody appreciates what's going on. And if you want to contact me, you've got any ideas or questions on auto writing or auto talking, feel free to give me an email at spiritradiodanstyle@gmail.com. Again, this is Dan Radio Style. Appreciate it, and we'll be doing more shows coming up soon. Thanks.